So, well, once again, welcome to Pittsfield for our second session of what hopefully will become a regular occurrence. I don't think we have. I am the sitting chairman of the Pittsfield Select Board until there's a revolt and struck down by pitchforks and torches. But for a while, anyway, I get to hold the gavel. Uh, but I think there are so many avenues of mutual interest in our communities that if we ignore the county line that comes between us a bit, but oh yes, before I get too far into this, we are going out via YouTube, so folks in our communities can share whatever experience it is we have tonight. But
and what's your name, Martha?
Martha is our owl's name.
Martha.
Yeah.
it probably would serve a useful purpose if we went around and introduced ourselves again, just as we're back to that gray area. We've had enough time since the last meeting to forget.
Yeah.
So, as I said, I'm Jim Allard, the chair of the board for the time being.
You're the chair. I'm Paul Colby, I'm the vice chair.
Dan Green.
St. Laurent.
And Jim Adams. We're all selectmen.
I'm Andrew Sylvester, the Barnstead Select Board Chair.
I'm Gary Madden, the vice chair.
I guess this would include the rest of the room too, since there are folks that have not been with us before. This would start over there.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Romati. I'm a resident of Barnstead. Everyone on Barnstead.
Well, welcome to Pittsfield.
Thank you.
Ramonte, resident of Barnstead.
Tim Wilder, fire chief of Barnstead.
Steve Bowden, North Barnstead.
I'm so Barnstead. If you want him to go,
Well,
Yes.
He's in close proximity to where I live, so
okay, you're good.
you're beginning to sound a bit like Gilmanton. The ironworks doesn't talk to the four corners, doesn't talk to the.
Well, North and South does come on.
Good.
Lauren Weston, finance manager.
Tony Myers, superintendent of public works. Joe Collins, police chief. Peter Fausti, fire chief.
Firehouse.
resident of Barnstead, but they do it for the corporation movements for the building. And also the deputy fire chief in Barnstead.
Well, welcome home.
Every time it's the same thing. Probably is the same.
Remove the gym.
Or is it just a spawn?
At least it was span.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Look at the car. But back to what I was saying, there are so many areas potentially of mutual benefit to talking together and working together. I mean, the obvious ones in the public safety arena, and they work together routinely anyway. We don't need to tell them how to do things, but some of the other things, I'm excited that you're standing up economic development discussions again. I wish timing was a little better. Our economic development committee met at 4:30 in this room, so it would have been good. We could have exchanged phone numbers or something. But as you know, I mean, we're both in some sort of economic struggles. Because Barnstead is about 1,000 people bigger. But your town centers are kind of like ours. They aren't what they once were.
Right.
In terms of businesses and interests. So, there are certain things that the economic folks can certainly share and talk and learn and grow. And the thing that always comes to my mind is instead of wringing our hands and ruining the fact that Highway 28 came to the valley 65 years ago, we need to learn to live with 28 and do something with it. And we probably need to band together to get the state to let go of some of their restrictions on what can happen along 28. Because it's our understanding that actually that was not a state initiative to begin with. It was a Pittsfield initiative that asked the state to close off development of 28, thinking at the time that it would preserve the downtown. Well, that was a good guess, but not very accurate. And so we need to turn loose of that and see what the realm of the possible is. But there are many other and probably not so difficult things that we can do of mutual interest for the benefit of our citizens. Of course, if Barnstead were to come back to our schools, that would certainly help. Or if we would suddenly go to Prospect Mountain, that might help out equally. But that's not our board's purview, so I can't forget I said that.
Yep.
That's another board's realm to work out. But
Well, excuse me for interrupting, but with the outcome of the special election last week, we may be trying to peddle our kids somewhere because the teachers are going to say twice and you don't want us? Well, hit the road. And somebody said, well, they'll have to pay $1,000, really, to go somewhere else and get 12,000 more.
It's a tough concept anyways. I mean, Barnstead was facing it when we were going to Pittsfield. You know, the tuition, obviously the cost per student was rising all the time. It got to the point that it was like, what's more feasible here? You know, and that's how we ended up where we were, basically. So
It's amazing what damage a couple of arrogant SOBs. And I'm not talking about our Barnstead folks. I'm talking about the idiots.
well, it's certainly been a learning experience my entire adult life because I married a girl from Alton, and back in the mid '60s when Kingswood was built, and initially Alton was supposed to be a part of all that, and then the wise individuals in that town decided not to be, but their partnership with New Durham that had been like ours with you all, that had gone on for more than 100 years, evaporated overnight. And her high school class went from like 65 kids to 15. Overnight. And that managed to last Alton on their own until they needed a new building.
I think
And then they had to go hunting for you to make a new building feasible.
this consolidation of the school system should have happened a long time ago. These towns are too small, all the way around to fund it all by themselves. That's why the taxes are so high. I mean, that's 2/3 of your taxes easy.
Oh,
You know, this just should have happened a long time ago. But that was the past. Now we got to work on where we go from here.
So is there any particular place on 28 you'd look for driveway access potentially, or any ideas of what you look to try to bring into town?
I know you're looking at me, and I'm probably the wrong guy to question.
I'm just looking at you because you're the chair. Usually it's the chair and then I
For now.
So I'm the wrong guy to question. I have to confess, I'm the farthest thing from a business guy.
Yep.
And, well, since I was 18 years old, I was a soldier. I look at great things and make a lot of noise, but I didn't learn to develop businesses.
Do we
But
have,
it seems, well, Casey, we were having, I think, Art, we were having a conversation earlier. About places like the old Pittsfield Fairgrounds, which is, to my way of thinking, it's a fairly level area of significant acreage. Well, lots like that would be the places I would assume business-minded people would want to develop, if there are such. But, there are so many businesses today that we encounter that they're focused on the Epsom traffic circle and they're focused on the Alton traffic circle. And those of us in part of Chichester and all of Pittsfield and all of Barnstead, they're left high and dry. Now, I mean, that's basic geography, the demographics of those traffic circles where maybe somewhat significant roadways cross, they got lucky. Those of us out here in the middle are going to have to make it happen for ourselves.
is there land that's owned by Pittsfield along 28?
No.
I didn't think so.
But if I may, Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
there's a bunch of private land that would be accessible if the state would open up I mean, the land across from Glow,
Okay.
that area,
That whole section there.
the whole section from actually Levitt Road out to Upper City. That would be accessible if the state would open up, or at least it would give the landowners an opportunity to part with their land because it would increase the value of their land, so they may have a chance to, part with it and things like that. So there is buildable land there. Seems like there's more buildable land now than there ever has been. Just people put things everywhere now. So for us, that's where we've run into, because we have no more driveway accessible areas in Pittsfield for this state. We're done. We have no more driveway access.
And when Rite Aid came to put their, now defunct, drugstore in Pittsfield, they went to the state, rumor has it, and where the Haas property is now, I think it was 50 feet or before the Haas driveway, the state was these people were trying to talk to the state into putting an access road that would go from 107 all the way up to Upper City, and then do the, developing off that. But then they got they got a great opportunity with the place that they were down Mill Wolves. But that was always one that people said, well, there's a good deal of opportunity there, because that's a pretty good stretch from Upper City to 107, and some of it's maybe a little marshy and such, but
Yeah. So Haas has a nice piece of property.
Yeah.
and that's it, still in limbo, is it?
Well, I don't know that it's in limbo. The conservation is the family is trying to put on.
Yeah.
They're working quite hard on having it conserved. And you old timers, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was an area there adjacent to that where they looked at putting what is now Prospect Mountain School at one time.
Yes, that's a piece of land that is, as you go up to the PCC right now, where that is.
Right.
It was right on the corner, all the way straight back to where the VCDP is now,
So in
up
theory,
on that big hill.
that could be something in the future.
And I do believe, if I remember, all of the access to the school was going to be coming off 28 by the Barnstead Pittsfield line. They were going to develop it that way instead of and there was even a thought of bringing water and sewer up to that area so the school would have that. So there was, but that, a lot of pushback because of the potential of hazmat, because that's been Pittsfield up at the end of that property for a long time, so. But that piece of land was,
But that doesn't mean that today it could be something else that's compatible with living next to the transfer station. So there are ideas of planning, but most of the people in the room know better than I. It's been a long struggle to when we get to where we are today. And most of us, thus far, been on the negative side. We haven't been able to retain. I'm sure you've seen the last 12, 18 months here in Pittsfield. It's been with Rite Aid leaving, and I can't name the parent company of what was Rusty Crust leaving, and a couple of others. It's significant economic.
You got Earth that's leaving too. So he was at planning board last Thursday in Barnstead proposing to move his whole operation on the state in Barnstead. So
well, that's his roots, and it's always, the locks came from there, him, his dad, and sons.
And there's a certain logic associated with that, and where he is now, in my way of thinking, is kind of pinched between 107 and 28.
yeah,
Do much more than he's done.
I believe he rents there as well. He doesn't own it.
Well,
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
he rents off of West Walk Road,
Yeah.
garage over there. So he's trying to consolidate everything.
Yep, makes sense.
So,
makes sense.
but where he wants to go, there's already a driveway already where he wants to go, so he doesn't have to get one from the state.
It makes even more sense.
So it's just,
Is there some going right now?
There's a sign on the building, I'm told, that says Dollar General.
Oh, good. Just
I'm not, we're gonna have two of them within 100 yards. You can't beat that.
Which,
don't worry, it won't be staffed.
I say, I am not a business guy, but if it's a Dollar General, what's the impact on your Dollar General?
I don't know.
That's awfully
I don't know,
close.
but if it wants to put it out of business, we're okay with it.
But even ours goes to Alton because ours is never open.
Yeah, it starts in the middle of Butler building.
Well, but it's gonna have an impact on the other business there, that dollar, or whatever it is, they have family dollar or whatever. It's gonna have an impact on Donnie's, some of these smaller stores as well, because they sell all the regular stuff they do.
Out of just curiosity, interest, what is going in Rainy Grove, that building that's recycling?
Popcorn place.
A popcorn.
Commercial, it's a commercial popcorn operation, yep.
Yeah.
They do wholesale sales,
Wow.
just going in there.
Looks no good very much.
Are we gonna have a renaissance in corn farms? Let's need to supply this place.
I'm actually interested to find out, what job opportunities there will be there, kind of what it takes to run the place, but I mean, it's kind of an odd business.
Yeah,
It's an interesting. Really think about it, maybe there's something behind it that we don't know about.
It's certainly a niche business.
Yeah.
Now, last time we had talked, there was conversation about like a grocery store, smaller size grocery store, something with like a pharmacy to try to get either between two towns there.
Yeah, it would be
So-
interesting.
Well, I think this Dollar General box is supposed to be different than other Dollar Generals.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to have more groceries. But that's,
I've seen
There
them.
was supposed to be a DM, Dollar Market.
And that's
I was gonna say,
what's on the sign is DM now.
I've seen those.
No, they don't want to go through.
DM's totally different. They sell produce and meat
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
so in theory, that's what's coming there. We'll see. But, I mean, in some ways, maybe that's a good thing because competition with Donnie's may make Donnie's do something to make themselves more competitive. So we'll see.
It'll be interesting to see who is going to be I guess the mill pole, that new in Chichester, it's being called, I'm told,
Well, the market.
Chichester Market.
Yep.
It's supposed to be a mini drugstore. Rumor has it might be something from Associated Grocers. Because
They opened today.
the Sully stores, those are Associated Grocers. Yep.
Right before past the cutoff.
Meat market and a fish market.
What is that? Horseman Road, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
It's the guy from Healthy Buffalo, I think.
Is the
So he's got
owner of
those
that.
meats in there as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
We said that open today.
They did a soft opening today. Right.
The real problem is we can't have our chief of police and his patrolman out there telling people, you come into Pittsfield, we want you to build a business.
Right.
I think we're in big trouble with that.
Yeah, I think that's probably limited success.
So for right now, then we should probably concentrate on purchasing.
Right.
Like between the two of us, see how.
That's certainly an area of mutual.
I would love to start seeing your economic committee, meet with our economic
Right.
committee and see if they can't move forward on some of these things.
I think it's a great idea.
And start that process, because I think that would be because it's gonna be a process. So the sooner we start it, the better we'll off we are.
Yeah.
Now we can go to the idea of the mutual purchasing and stuff like that.
We were able to recruit enough people for that committee or anybody for that committee?
Yeah, we've got,
You know, we've had,
You got five?
five, 6
Five.
people.
so, and it's been ongoing,
Yeah.
and new blood to it would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So, because new ideas and new blood is always a positive thing.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a representative that sits on that committee?
Me. The non-business guy.
Right, the non-business guy, because I was gonna ask them, like, what kind of ideas are they have right now?
Well, the last few years, we've been concentrating on kind of some ancillary, like solar development. And things of that nature. As you know, we out there by Dunkin' Donuts, there was a solar farm on that happens to be on private land. But we've been working on developing solar for to be built on public or town land, public land, for a couple of reasons. One, we had the land, was other provide essentially free electricity for town properties, for this building, for the highway department, for the police department. All of that would become free. We're sort of held up at the moment, because coming right along with this, we're like many other towns in New Hampshire, we're having to seriously consider replacement of our wastewater treatment facility, because it no longer meets federal standards, and it's beyond its projected lifetime when it was built, and technology has significantly changed which is somewhat of an opportunity for us because the newer plants do not employ, I'm told, the lagoon systems that we all grew up with. And if our lagoons were to go away, we have acres available for solar farming right there and would not have to cut down woods to any great extent, would not have to reshape. It's already leveled. It's all, so we're kind of moving out on the replacement of the wastewater treatment facility, which hopefully might spin off into opportunities for solar power, additional solar power. In truth, we somewhat get held up technologically because the current wastewater treatment plant happens to be outside of the present reach of three-phase power. And so that was added to the expense. The idea of running lines in three-phase was going to add to the expense, and so we're kind of treading water at the moment, but still looking at doing those sorts of things.
Have you been
We
putting
do
any,
have just based on the meeting from a couple hours ago, we do have a phone conversation coming up this next week with our representative, Maggie Goodlander, to to kind of beat her up and pick her brain on what's available federally for small towns like us from the federal level. And so I'm kind of looking forward to that discussion. We're bound to learn more about what is or is not available from her perspective. I mean, obviously, one Congress representative isn't speaking for the entire Congress, but she and her staff may be aware of what programs or monies are available to play with in a small place like New Hampshire. So more to follow on that.
So I guess we move to the next section. We had discussed public works and the salt. So I guess we have a new public works director, with Dakota. I don't know if we've had a chance to talk about tonnage of what you guys use, what we use, if we can come down to a mutual agreement so we can get the buying power to purchase larger volumes of that stuff. I don't know if we can get a public works directors to talk and see if we can figure that out, maybe come up. Because when do you guys go to bid on your stuff?
We haven't yet, so
We haven't yet.
I have that written down.
Because you guys use Morton's, right?
We what?
Use Morton's?
Yeah.
For salt, yeah.
Yeah, that was my note from Morton.
Yep. Yeah, we use that for salt.
Use Dakota.
State bid.
Okay.
So-
Yeah.
Winter sand goes out to bid though. We usually roughly estimate like 6,000 yards. What we get, but we also get 3/8 stone. So our winter sand piles outside. They dump the stone on the bottom of it, and then there's a dump of sand on top of it. And then as they go in the pile in the wintertime, it mixes itself.
Yeah.
So for the dirt roads. So
I mean, I think that would be pretty important for our two road agents to get together, public works directors to get together and come up with an amount that we both can and see what that does with our buying power. Maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't, I don't know.
something, yeah.
We could go down that avenue. I think that's an easy one
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to suggest, Dakota, we have a nice diner down the way at the Friendly Diner, and maybe the two supervisors have some coffee and a donut and talk about areas of mutual
something new.
You got a great breakfast, it might go good.
They do have a good breakfast, so.
Still kind of expensive.
Yeah.
I think there's a great advantage to that.
Yeah,
Salt, sand, gravel,
yeah,
something could be done with that. I think it'd be great if they sat down and.
yeah, I do too.
And I believe we're mostly propane, right? Don't know if we can do anything with them.
Yeah, we talked about fuel.
We have, yeah, we have both propane and heating oil.
But diesel, on the
We don't.
diesel.
Yeah, we've got the diesel pump there. So, everything for us for diesel wise is all on-road diesel. Then town hall submit the paperwork to get reimbursed of what gets used off on the equipment. So,
Where is your diesel pump?
at our highway garage. So, it's up there. Fire has keys to it. They all have key slots. So we keep track of every vehicle, what they use, every month. So, for that. Now your highway department for winter sand, do you guys usually truck it yourself? Or is it all trucked in?
We mix it up. If we don't have the time and ability to truck it ourselves, we'll usually get it from her and then haul it in for us.
Yep. So we don't just ever haul it in ourselves. We just let them haul it in. It keeps our highway department on the roads doing what they need to do. And does it cost more? Yes, but if you look at the long term, you actually save money in long term
Right,
of what it is. So,
right.
but that's just something just going into bid wise, knowing what's going to be
Exactly.
potentially delivered or picked up, wise. So,
The other thing we talked about was a new fuel station, a joint.
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the state took one out, you guys had 28 or
Right, took it out.
yeah, by Nemo.
But actually, Nemo owns that piece now. Right, yeah.
Really, so yeah. Yeah, because it's either Chichester or Alton, but I don't remember Chichester had gas. I think that was just diesel.
Yeah.
Do you remember, Will?
No, we get diesel there.
Or you get Concord?
No, we get diesel in Chichester.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do they have gas too, or just diesel? All they have both.
All got both, but it would be nice to have something closer.
Yep.
So, potentially, so especially if there's a say natural disaster or something.
Right.
So, I I remember where we've had to go into Concord to try to fuel up cruisers before. So,
That's it. You raise an interesting question that here in Pittsfield, not too far away, down by where the old writing is, the new DM, is it gonna be? Right there, the state, 3 of the state's highway districts converge. And it could make an awful lot of sense if the state were to put a fuel site somewhere in the proximity, because they've got vehicles from 3 districts running around here all the time.
yeah.
They have to ask our legislators to.
Well, Nemo is now used to be the troll.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so why did they,
The tanks were leaking in instead of
fixing them, they got rid of
just open up.
But this may be a new era. And if the state were running a facility that could be tapped into by the towns, that might not be a bad thing.
Yep. I think it's Concord though. There's like 7 or 8 towns that go in with Concord, the city of Concord, to purchase fuel, gas, diesel, heating oil. It's been a while since I looked at that, but I want to say there was like 7 or 8 towns that went in with Concord though. They all pulled together.
Well, that's some serious bulk. Science, they must have some purchasing power.
It doesn't. Yeah, you run the risk of you have a set price for the whole year potentially, so you don't have the fluctuations. But if it's set and the price goes high, then you still have it set. So if it goes low, well,
Yeah. They have good years and your bad years.
yes. So, but it may be easier budgeting wise though.
And in theory, over time, that would work itself
Yeah.
to be pretty stable.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much of a deal we're actually getting going some of those state ones though. I use the one at home, which is used by the state troopers
They do good.
and the state trucks, and, you know, I use it for gas. But, you know, when I go to fill up, it's like $9, so it's somewhere around $4 a gallon still. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
that doesn't really sound like a savings, really good savings.
For us, and regular strong guys, but you know, going to Alton, you know, we're burning.
Yeah, to save 4 cents, right?
Yeah, not necessarily.
So it's gonna have to be something very local, you know?
I mean, our state department, they kept an eye on that, what the state pump price is versus what we aren't is there, and I mean, they're not gonna take a vehicle to go to Alton or go to just to fill it up. They go to the highway garage here. But if they're on their way back, they may stop.
Right.
So
Right.
makes
When
sense.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
And of course, all of our ambulance crews run into Concord
Yeah.
all the time.
Well, they need to be filled all the time because they could be on the way back and get another call and back and just
Right.
you know.
So. Okay, I'm doing all the talking here, guys.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my notes from my last one. I touched base on all
Yeah.
the stuff from last time.
No new blazing ideas last time.
Well, next meeting, bring cupcakes.
I got that.
Okay, yeah. Maybe your time.
Barnstead wants cupcakes. Yeah.
To change the subject a little bit, what have you guys heard about what the state is going to do with their dam for Cyclone Lake? Oh, I knew I was gonna hit him.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They're gonna raise it 5 feet.
They are gonna keep it and raise it 5 feet.
The one on Valley Dam, yeah. For Cycle upper and lower.
That's the one up near Valley Dam, so that's on our call.
Hospital.
Okay. So they are going to allow you to keep your lake at least.
Yep.
But they're gonna raise it, which is gonna lose some water frontage for the houses that are on the lake. Is that what?
I think it probably have more impact on downstream.
Yeah,
Downstream.
it's taking water from downstream.
Yeah.
So
But the Suncook has a lot of different avenues. The Suncook River does, you know, and what actually goes in there. So I mean, it's probably going to be a little long, but and they're talking about doing all the dams. So.
Yeah. The reason why I bring that up is because the same communication from the dam bureau with our dam here. They haven't approached us per se with a solid plan, but the rumor is to do this, not to raise it 5 feet, to remove it. So
they were talking about that one as a parade for us.
right.
Yeah.
The one in the parade.
Right.
So, but
I don't know how all that's going to work.
No, we're gonna have an uproar.
They're planning to start in Alton. Removing the dam there by their DPW garages. Take that out.
Yeah, New Durham too. I think they're first on the list somewhere around there.
Yeah, the Merry Meeting March. And just suddenly be Merry Meeting March.
Yep. Ours will be done next year.
I mean, it's going to have a huge impact on pretty much all the waterways. We've got
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that gives us an opportunity to develop salmon fishing.
We'll be all ready for the 1,000-year storm, you know.
It seems like there's having to be 100-year storm every 10 years.
Right.
So we're gonna deal with our rural agents talking start that way.
Yep.
Perfect.
And chiefs. All of our mutual aid compacts are all up to date and good, and
Absolutely.
you're happy with, one says happy with,
We've talked about it, you know.
Well, you guys are better at, more experienced at this than we. We've been mutually aiding for decades.
Right.
So, I'm sure you know all the nooks and crannies of what's best for both places.
I mean, even just the training that the two of them have been doing over the years. Not just Pittsfield and Barnstead, but I mean, Chichester, I believe's
Yeah.
going on with you too.
Yeah, absolutely, everybody, yeah.
Yep.
Everybody's pitching in, yeah, so.
So,
Yeah, slowly but surely.
yep.
Would it be, almost like the reset month, would it be good if we reached out to other, maybe to start with the four that are working together, reset every day, that maybe, for example, purchasing equipment, and I don't mean new fire trucks, I'm talking about fire hose and the stuff. If we were to get 4 communities in on that,
Mhm.
the price should be reflected a little bit better for these guys. All the communities.
Go ahead.
And similar stuff.
It is, but the big problem is to get each town to agree on a certain type of things. Right, certain topic. And in the past, that works for a couple of towns, but then there's always one that throws in the curve. For the small ones. And definitely regional grants.
No, that's right, don't worry.
No,
Well, there's also a replacement cycle that you guys follow too, and not everybody's on the same cycle.
Absolutely.
You might not even need them this year or next year, but that they're 3 years out or something.
But that may be something over time that we can shoot for,
Mm,
is that to bring our cycles.
yeah, you're gonna have to wear them out a little early.
hose testing and that.
Yeah, hose testing, now that is a requirement, isn't it? That's what I thought. That's when we saw that, you gave us what was it, multicolored hoses, and it was a very interesting thing, but if one of those let go in a fire, somebody could get seriously hurt.
But and I'm sure Pete already does it. But the scheduling, maybe again, like we had talked about, making sure that we both have adequate coverage for our paramedics and stuff like that. I think you've already started that a little bit with making sure, right, that
Well, he might not have with our new
No.
chief.
Oh,
This is only his 3rd week.
oh, okay.
So,
All right, so that's something that has to be worked out on the money side, but we certainly would help entertain that very well, but then there's the union, there's a whole other. Right, there's a whole. We can help each other out easy, but then it comes to the money. Right, yep.
And with that same compact idea, not just fire hose, but every community's got ambulances. And I would expect, like everything else, anything that says medical on it is 5 times more expensive than if you get it in a drugstore. Maybe those purchases could be kind of, because that's the stuff you use all the time, I believe.
I'm knock on wood, we get a lot of it from Concord Hospital right now, but certainly we do get certain needles and equipment that we go in with each other to purchase.
They allow you to stock up before you leave? You drop something off and they stock up?
Was it reached? Yeah.
Yeah?
In fact, we'd be going to the wayside, so.
Well, they're a business now. They always were a nonprofit. Now they're Concord Hospital. They on deliveries.
Then definitely we could talk about bulk ordering equipment and stuff like that. But it's everything's dated, so that's what they need to, so.
Yeah. Anything we can do.
Yeah.
Police have to work with the police on where they might be able to purchase items in bulk or together, fire with fire. And,
A nickel safe is a nickel safe.
right, apartments, so, having apartments. Yeah, unfortunately, the highway department's a little different. But we have way more dirt roads than you guys have.
But I mean, but that, even, again, going to the small things, I mean, fluids, I mean, oils, greases, all that stuff. If there was a way that we could do it in a bulk, I don't know, and this is way off base probably, but I don't even know if we have the same equipment. We have the same trucks. And we carry some parts here, you guys carry some parts there, and the truck breaks down in the middle of the storm, we can call on each other and say, hey, do you have this? So we can get back, either one of us can get back on the road, anything like that would benefit both communities.
Well, and like, nothing against Sandals here, or Pittsfield here. There is there, but you, they're Napa, they're Napa and Farmington is Napa too. But yet, Napa and Farmington will be half the price of Sandals
Right.
here.
Right,
These guys have gone, sir.
So like, a lot of our stuff comes right from Napa and Farmington, and yeah, they'll deliver to that. I know they'll deliver here, because he's gotten a state bid for filters in general, and Dan will do 2 runs into Concord every day, is what he'll do. And he'll go right down 28 to go into Concord, go back. So if it's either on his way there or way back, he'll stop and drop stuff off. So,
that may be something that you may wanna check into and see how it's at. Yeah, I mean, I know they're a local personnel / Napa that's been here for years, but dollar's a dollar.
well, at the end of the day, I'm somebody that I like local businesses, but you have to look at the financial side of it.
Right,
You can't say the same thing for half the price. It's nothing against them. You've got to be financially responsible to be on the board.
Right, exactly.
But some of that may generate change.
Right,
Well, you're right.
If I would think if a business knows they're losing business to somebody who's undercutting the prices,
Right.
then maybe something good can come out.
Something.
Good for the community.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Because you're right, all of us, I mean, we've got to squeeze a nickel to the Indian rights to buffer.
Yeah. I mean, and currently right now, like the majority of our maintenance up at Highway, they don't do it. We've told them to outsource it all, just because either they're not qualified or they're not comfortable doing it, and we don't want to have that liability on them. So it makes it easier, and then yes, it keeps them on the road. They're not in the shop. It's nice to be in the shop on a rainy day, snowy, our first snowstorm potentially to go through things, but we have to look at it, what their capabilities are too.
Most of ours is outsourced.
Is it?
Well, maybe we ought to find a decent mechanic and split his salary.
That's a great idea.
That's kind of where I honestly was going with it, because like we talk about purchasing fluids in bulk, but there's no point to purchase them really in bulk potentially, other than maybe hydraulic fluid, because okay, they blow a hydraulic line in the middle of wintertime. We have a setup to make hydraulic hoses in our shop, so that we can just make them themselves, and they're just gonna fill the hydraulic tank and off they go. But outside of that, they don't really keep much bulk fluids there, just to top off.
It's always been amazing to me that all these towns in New Hampshire or, anywhere in northern New England that were operating these departments on such a shoestring. Number one, mostly it's too small for 24-hour day operation, but not having a mechanic on scene.
Yep.
That is your mechanic that does, well, not only the highway, they would have to, that has to expand to the fire and, and changing oil in the police cars and the air filters and all that sort of stuff. I don't know how any of us get by without our own in-house mechanic.
We've had discussions on that as well, looking into that possibly.
And I mean, we're always breaking plow blades.
Yeah.
And to have a guy who can, bring it by and I'm welding it in 10 minutes rather than having to go to hooks it.
Yeah.
And to have a plow welded.
I mean, there's typically something that breaks every day at Highway.
Yep.
Yes.
Every day.
It's the nature of the beast.
Unfortunately, you're right, it is.
That's a wonderful idea, for team to that,
It's been questioned whether we had enough work for a full-time mechanic. I think we absolutely do.
We both
As far as smaller fire vehicles, and police, highway itself.
But maybe if we would find a way to start small and be half-time,
Well,
Barnstead, half-time Pittsfield, and until
Yeah.
we figure out the finances of it.
well, there's that, and whoever potentially gets hired, they need to know their capabilities, what's expected of them. So, me personally, I don't want them rebuilding an engine in the shop.
No.
No, send that out.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it should literally gonna be just the basics, keep it going, so.
Well, and because many of our vehicles, there are certain warranties and guarantees that
Well-
it needs to go to, White or Mac or whatever the truck brand is in order to get its particular work.
Well, that's something that they can keep, that person can keep track of, because we've had vehicles that have had extended warranties on them and nobody knew about it until after the fact. And we've already paid, and because the work wasn't done at the dealer, we couldn't get reimbursed for it. So we've already paid an aftermarket shop.
I'm sure we've all got caught in that somewhere along the
So,
line.
As much as people greasing and maintaining their own vehicles, it's still the fact that you have a mechanic there that has all the records and everything's computerized and no, that truck stays here today. I've got things to do with, they do instead of it going out on the road, just breaks down and we're fixing it after the fact. I think it's pretty responsible to do that. I think there's plenty of work for a mechanic. And then, like you said, we get together possibly, see how it would work out, split the time.
Something.
And many, a trained mechanic may also be a trained operator. And when he hasn't got the mechanic work to do, he's operating something.
Well, I know a few years ago, we looked into that. And I was all about a good trained mechanic is gonna wanna do mechanics. They're not gonna wanna go out and operate.
Absolutely.
And I got kind of shot down there, and they put their ad out for plowing and running equipment when he's not busy with mechanics, and they got 0 applications. So, and I got a feeling they would have got applications that was strictly mechanic.
I mean, if they have nothing to do, they're looking over what's coming up next.
Yeah.
Potentially. What do they have got for parts? What do they need to order?
Or tracking those records from
There's
other work. Yeah, I
There's
get
all that.
it.
There's all.
There's always presentive maintenance.
Oh my God.
There's always. Oh yeah.
This is another rabbit hole to run down. It's only Alan's question because it's a big question in Pittsfield right now. What is your highway department's responsibilities toward your cemeteries?
They don't touch them.
No, we
They don't touch them.
hire them out.
There's
A lot of them are taken care of with neighbors,
neighbors, but there's the actual cemetery committee.
then the cemetery
They
committee.
take care of them all. So
Well, and we do have a board of trustees for the cemetery, and our history is, at least our recent history is that it's a contract type of situation handled by. But when the voters killed the budget, there was no budget for maintaining the cemeteries.
yep.
And that lasted a relatively short time before the torches and pitchforks came out that we weren't maintaining the cemeteries. And now suddenly it's a grand idea that the highway department should maintain the cemeteries. And
Well, don't most of these have a committee or an association established with them? Like, I know Riverview in Barnstead has a board of trustees and stuff like that.
but if they don't have a budget, then
And that's not a town maintained cemetery, right? Right, so that's a private cemetery. Just like our Catholic cemetery on North Road is a private cemetery that we don't oversee. We're talking about the town
Okay.
owned, maintained cemetery, which you guys would have one of those too, right?
We got a couple.
We have, there's over 100 of them in town that the cemetery committee is responsible for maintaining.
Like you said, a lot of that's volunteer.
A
lot of them are.
There's-
They're small, you know, they're not.
There's $3,000 in the budget for them to maintain all of them. And that's either mowing, weed whacking, trimming branches, cutting down trees.
Or $3,000.
And a lot of them volunteer a lot of time too to do it. So usually the $3,000 is spent on having somebody come in and either cut a tree or tree limbs. That's usually what it gets spent on.
Or fuel, maybe.
Something,
You know.
but yeah.
Well, I can't remember what year it was, but our main cemetery was a private association until 15, until very recently when
But then it went bankrupt.
essentially the state taught us that we did not have a town. Well, we had a town cemetery, which happens to be over by the old meeting house, but nobody's been buried there since the 1860s. It technically closed cemetery. Well, towns can't have closed cemeteries; they have to have an operational cemetery. So, when the association's budget got low, the town had to take over the cemetery for solve their budget problem, but solve the town's political problem of not having a designated cemetery. But then the great question that seems to be on everybody's mind today is it somehow part of the highway department versus a contract arrangement, which could all be solved by passing the budget.
I mean, our highway department, they don't have a lawnmower. They don't have a push mower, they don't have a ride-on mower. They don't do any other than roadside mowing, that's it.
Yeah.
So even the lawn mowing around town hall, there, PD, fire, library, that all gets contracted out for us.
Well, we have been getting some pretty good deals on that contract.
Yeah.
Does each department pay for that contract, or does it all come?
It's all encompassing under
Part of our general.
the general buildings line item there. Yeah. Yeah, we have a line item that's just all government building maintenance, and it falls under that. So.
Like generally when you're.
We typically budget $40,000 for all of our municipal buildings, so we're overspent right now on it. We overspent last year on it too. Last year was more than 100 grand. We overspent.
We got hit with a couple of items that were unanticipated.
Yeah.
That we were unprepared for. And then the high dollar items.
Yeah.
Heat systems, stuff like that.
Yes.
Things get us every time.
Yeah.
Heat systems, filtration systems there for water. So.
Generator always be the ones you didn't anticipate.
Oh yeah. Generator services there and repairs. So.
But we learned something.
So,
it didn't go unnoticed.
Pre-maintenance is better.
Pre-maintenance, put a little extra here, a little extra there.
But then we're all out of office, and whoever comes after is learning it again.
Well, yeah, that's true. Hopefully, we can clear the path a little bit.
yeah. So.
Anything else that we really want to cover? We don't want to keep you here forever.
So, do you mind if I ask the public if they have any comments? Because I know Steve has some ideas, and I'm curious what his ideas are while we are both here.
Yeah, I actually wanted to back to the economic development section about the beginning of the meeting.
Yep.
Is anybody familiar with tax increments and financing districts at all? So they can be very dangerous. They can be very good, and I think a lot of that's how they're structured. But in a nutshell, what it involves is taxpayer dollars being expended to create site work and a site where a developer could come in without putting out hundreds of thousands of dollars perhaps on site work, but they come in and build their building. Their taxes go toward paying the bond which the municipality takes out in order to do the site work. And as that bond is paid off, then the municipality starts generating tax revenue. So it can be dangerous. If you're using Rochester as an example, if you go up Route 11, that entirety of the left side of Route 11 is all TIF. And that involves, there's Walmart there, it's huge. And there's a huge area going in. But their mistake was they used it for residential development, which is terrible. Instead of focusing on strictly commercial development. So they're going to end up getting hurt thing, but it might be something to have a conversation on. I'm typically an opponent of it. When I was on the Rochester City Council, I actually voted against it when they wanted to expand it. You might want to think of it. It might be a way to get some heavy tax-paying commercial industrial into our towns. And face it, if we don't do that, our tax rate's going to continue to go up. We need to get more commercial industrial. It's the only answer to the high costs and reputation of town in general. So, industry or a commercial doesn't put any kids in our schools. So we don't have that $30,000 a year education cost for every house that's per child. So industry, might pay $100,000 a year in taxes. So it's something to consider. You might want to have a conversation about it going forward.
Well, that's a great idea, and it's a great conversation to have. We have that one slight problem that we discussed earlier. We don't have access to any land to do that because we don't have the driveway capability. We can't put a driveway in. I can't pick the old fairgrounds and say I want to use that because we have no access off 28.
What is it?
We have a limited access highway. So back in the 60s or so when they did it, it was probably 10 years after Route 28 was put in, our select board asked the state to make it a limited access highway because they didn't want to hurt the downtown. So,
preserve the downtown.
And what it did is it destroyed the downtown because nobody came downtown. They stayed on the highway. They stayed on 28. So they don't come down. So our problem now is to overcome that. We have to go back and beg the state to change something that we asked for back then, which was short-sighted. The intent is good, but the results was awful. So we have to now, that's why then the next step would be your idea to be looking into that. We had to overcome that first hurdle.
I see that. That's definitely a problem.
Yep.
Unless you were able to get industrial, doesn't need the frontage on 28. But that's challenging. How much industry is being built in the United States now?
Right. Exactly.
It's going out of China.
Right.
Well, knock on wood, we do still have Globe in place. And we have a couple of other operations like Podmore, the fastener folks that are here. And if they could attract like-minded individuals, then I think we could go far. We're gonna lay some groundwork for that to be successable.
Now, where are they? And
Podmore's across from the highway from
the weaving mill. If you go to the weaving mill, okay, on 28
Right, if you go up Loudon, like he just passed on the left-hand side, on
yeah, okay, yeah.
Who's it gonna take, if you don't mind me asking, to pass the state? When can we move forward with like, let's, go after this?
Basically, it falls to us. That's
Well, yeah.
Formally, but the actually,
to start.
does it go to the legislature?
But the legislators.
It would have to be.
Carry the
That's what
water.
I thought.
If I were doing it today, I'd go to Howard Borough.
I think now's the time to do it.
And then electing good reps that are willing to stand up and fight for you
Thank you.
is pretty important, because I know our reps are into some major things right now, and they're really fighting about egg packaging. And that's really helping us a lot, with all of these issues. I mean, the state is mandating schools all the time. We're about a 26% difference in what we're supposed to be getting. That's a lot of money. That would help the taxpayers right there.
And our reps are doing that.
Yeah, they're supporting it, and they're concerned with the eggs.
Yeah.
So I think electing good reps that are ready to get up there and you can see and hear what they're doing helps us with things. Get in there, and if you're gonna keep mandating, give us more money like you're supposed to be doing. And then it falls on the school. The schools, their budget's crazy. There's a reason why. The mandates don't stop. Sometimes for good reason, and sometimes they're a little ridiculous. And I really think the elections and the reps is pretty important. People are willing to get up and fight, and that helps all of us, helps all of them. And so that's something to look into too.
And we also have our executive councilman. This is sometimes if we can get him in the right direction.
Does he cover Barnstead too?
Does you have Stephen? You guys have?
Yeah,
John Stephen?
yeah,
You guys
yeah.
Are you District 4?
He was, who was it the other night? I just stuck with my own anyway. Yeah, he's,
Yeah, so Stephen, I thought that Barnstead in the last turnover, you picked him up, so.
Yeah,
Both
we
got
do.
the same councilman.
We-
And they've got,
That could be advantageous, because we don't have the same
right,
reps, because you're across the county line. We may have the same senator, so.
yes.
We
You
do
have
have,
both?
you have Stephen, because we do.
Yeah, we have, John Stephen
Yeah.
is our executive council.
So remember, this is an election year. So I'm trying to reach out to Howard and ask him to make it an election issue.
Well, I sat next to Howard when I was over there, so I don't mind reaching out.
Me too. Yeah, no,
That would be a good start. If we get that all.
yeah, that's you, shoot for both.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Because one's gonna feed off the other. If we can start something here, the next thing you know, it's gonna feed on you guys, or if you did the same thing down there, it's gonna feed on. It's an attraction thing. We just need the light to have the flies come to it. That's
and
me.
you have them in, say, what are you going to do?
Right.
Tell us what you're gonna do, and then show us you're gonna do to help us.
Any other avenue that anybody wants to discuss?
Everyone here.
Yeah.
Do you know when your next assessing year is, when you're doing your next update?
I do not.
I think we just completed it last year. I think we.
Was it well?
2020.
Yeah, but it's finished. It goes over a period of multiple years, 5 years. So I think it's just finished.
I think we just.
Yeah, we are the same. But I think you guys are on the same cycle as we are.
Because whenever we do it, because you remember the charts that Tim had up at the school, it reset it all when we reassessed everything.
Yeah,
We just did.
We reassessed last year, right?
right. So, yeah, that's, I'm glad you brought that up, Jerry.
Contract, and the past 2 times, we've only been able to attract out of town. Other people won't even consider bidding. So I know there's not a lot of sisters out there. But it would be nice if that's something that we can combine on this one.
Yeah, because we know that.
You guys use Mr. Wood, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Certified
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
people out there. A lot of our people who pay attention to the budget, whether it's budget committee or residents, they see these huge contracts go through and they wonder why we're not bidding better. But we're doing our best. It's just people aren't bidding on our fees. So I was just curious as to what how you have done with assessment.
I gotta say,
I was recorded to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't use advertising, you use a private person already, right?
We have advertised, we have Rod comes in as an assessor.
But he doesn't work for advertising.
He doesn't work for advertising.
No,
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 right?
that's just some software, assessing software we use.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody uses that.
Good.
Good.
Yeah, he finished up the last one before Avatar came in. That was good.
I think it's important to keep this going as well, because we can talk about it now and talk in 6 months and talk again.
Yeah,
The police and fire, and they all know what they're doing. They're gonna work together and, they don't need us telling them a thing. But I mean, like highway, and I think there's a lot of materials, let's say there, that they may be able to catch a break on and work together and keep them in the loop. And
Yeah.
we keep in the loop on this. I mean, just to keep it going, because
I
the
agree.
way we're gonna get anything out of it is to stay on it.
yep,
If Mr. Stevens gets reelected, and we have one of these meetings in November after the election, I bet if his schedule was clear, he would love to come in because he's always looking to have
He is.
more things,
That's a good idea.
bulk buying and stuff like that. That's right up his alley.
He's a friend of the families, and he would, I know he would.
He's good people.
Yeah.
So that's good. We ought to put that mark on the calendar. Think about a joint, another.
Exactly, one of these.
But bring in.
Well, so we met last time, it was two months and 2 days ago. Would it be advantageous to meet next month, because budget season's here, whether we all want to agree to it or not, that way we can, what are your big ticket items, what are our big ticket items? Or, you guys know.
Yeah, we just,
Or do we want to go?
Buying the brain, yeah. Not running 2 months. We're cutting that to a month.
Right, yeah, that's what
By 6 is close.
Mr. Chair, I think the one thing that we have to be concerned about will be, when do we go out to bid on products for highway?
That's key.
Yeah, is that gonna happen prior to the next month meeting? Or are we gonna be able to go a month before we do that? When do you guys usually go?
we usually, no, we don't wait that long.
We get it in September.
No, we award it in October. The bid usually goes out. Salt bid usually comes in the beginning of September.
And I'm not sure, when's the state finalize their state bid? Is it the end of August? So I think maybe if we do, we should try to make it around September, so we can come up with a bid process and have our road agents come up with the amounts that we need and don't need, and that way we have an idea, and maybe make it a mutual package bid.
Approach the vendor and say, this is what we've got, what can you do for us?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it looked like a month.
Okay.
Only September.
Early September.
Or,
So primary's on the
Yeah,
8th,
The
mid-August.
primary is on the 8th, so we
The
don't.
primary's on the 8th.
and that's the second Tuesday of the month.
Right, well, yeah, it's trying,
Right.
you guys meet on Tuesdays normally, right?
We do, yeah.
So does Wednesdays work? For
Yeah.
You guys, kind of work, does it work for us, you guys think?
Yeah.
So it could be on the 9th or the 16th. That's,
Either one's fine.
Well, the 16th would be the month of today.
yeah,
And by then, we should have the information we need from both our public works and stuff like that, want to do the 16th.
That's fine, yeah, works. Works for me. So,
5:30 again.
and our,
That's when you can.
our road agent is an official road agent now. So
Great.
they no longer are
Really?
the
Acting.
highway foreman. They are the highway department's road agent now. So,
Perfect.
as of first thing this morning. So,
perfect. Do we want to come to you?
Probably
We
good.
can get it
Going back to
stuff from.
Yeah, why don't we
Why don't we keep switching, yeah?
Why don't we go to Barnstead?
Yeah,
yeah,
what time? 5:30?
5:30 works, yeah.
Okay.
5:30, 16.
Oh, so you're gonna buy the cupcakes? Is that the deal?
No, you,
Yeah, you're hosting. I can bring in the coffee.
I didn't know.
yeah.
Milk goes to cupcakes, not.
16.
Yeah.
Cupcakes, they're kind of foo-foo-y, aren't they?
Cupcakes, milk goes with cupcakes.
Yeah.
Shared, fuel area that you have. It might be beneficial if we bring other towns in, like Chichester, because that's very, very close to us.
Yeah.
So the more power that we have, and the more towns that we have, might be beneficial and might move the state a little more.
And I somewhat agree with that. The problem that I have with Chichester is their system right now is somewhat broken.
Yes.
So I am somewhat concerned if we bring them in, we start down that path and all of a sudden, for some reason, they back out and all that stuff. I have total faith with working with this, right? But I do agree with you. Maybe Epsom, maybe something like, something.
Maybe something like B, C, E, B.
Yeah.
We're already getting along, we've got a good
It
relationship.
has to be close enough to make it beneficial, though, otherwise it's just.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely. Go to front.
Advantages of this right here. They don't somebody might say, hey,
Exactly.
and we'd like to get in.
And I think Gary is hitting it. If we go too big too quick, I don't know if we can control it
Yeah.
as easy as we can right now.
Yeah.
So
That's my concern.
I like your idea.
Yeah, it's so for more towns.
Absolutely. The bigger you buy it, the better off you are. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if we put it in, it benefits them too.
I mean, I want to see us get it all figured out first before we try to get somebody else in.
I agree with that.
That's just my thought.
Too big too quick is not so.
We've done it before, with BCE.
Yep.
That is a model that not only the rest of New Hampshire, but that is a model throughout New England, and people come to our facility to look at it because they have our 4 towns working together successfully.
Is there extra area there? Put that in there?
To put,
Not at the moment.
I'd be nervous digging.
Yeah.
We're not digging anything under there right
Oh, but not that old.
Nobody knows, sure, that's,
Not even a spade.
There is some space out back. There is a future goal maybe to reroute some stuff up there, maybe put a new scale in, new approaches, stuff like that. So, we got to figure all that out. But, there is some property there, but it's not going to be available for.
I would like to see, I'm not sure what the property next to the propane tanks. I'm not sure it's exactly what the status of that is, but
Yeah, I didn't know. That's an ideal location.
that's perfect. We're not right at 28. Right there, it's already next to propane tanks and fuel tanks, and so if somehow we could, I don't manipulate that.
What about the land in between Blueberry and those open tanks? I mean, there's quite a bit there.
Yeah, I don't know the status of
I
that.
know the river gets a little close,
Yep,
right in there.
but I don't know who really.
There's New Hampshire on one. Then Digger Milton owns the one right next to it.
State of New Hampshire.
State of New Hampshire? Yeah, so the state already has property,
But it's steep as hell.
Yeah.
yeah, but,
But one the state owns,
um,
right there on the corner.
okay. Where,
Next to that, that's the Metcalf's have a trailer down there.
yeah, but I mean,
And it is on the riverside, so. Put
That's
tanks and stuff like that makes it a little.
Well, see, I was the representative on the planning board at the time they came in to, they wanted to have 2, I want to say they were 10,000 gallon tanks. They were gonna put in the ground, they were gonna put a little moat around it, and then they were next to it, they were gonna put the above ground gas. And somebody along the way, it may have been their own attorneys because at that time Rhymes was selling. And at that time they said, no, we're just gonna put the above ground, because I think it's less than, I'm not certain, but I think it's less than 1,000 feet to the river back.
Yeah.
And that stuff gets in the river.
Putting anything on the ground.
I also may remember the urban problem with the river queue next to Rite Aid.
Right.
I mean, it does not have to be below ground tanks. I mean, the state can put an above ground tank in just as easy as they can put in whatever the engineer, that would be an engineer's issue.
I mean, ours at highway, it's a 3,000 gallon above ground tank.
Exactly.
Just gotta put the dike on it. Right, which is not,
Well, you guys have a call back with your shop.
The state owns that too.
Yeah, so if you go by 28 and you look at the back of the salt shed, that is the center line. That's for the road going up back, that's just the all state property.
Pushing out the river, yes, sorry.
Yes.
State has it out back.
So,
I think highway materials and fuel is a pretty good start.
What are you paying right now for a gallon for diesel with the 3,000 gallon tank?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to look at it and yeah, the factory, so.
Yep.
But I mean, we get it from Huckleberry and it's every time they deliver it's their price.
Yep.
So, that's where all of our heating fuel comes from, propane comes from as well.
Yep.
We did lock in last year pretty good with Huckleberry
Yeah.
propane.
Yeah,
We actually, I think we made a great,
and heating oil.
we got a great deal, actually. Chances are they lost money this year, so we're probably won't get quite as good a deal next year. But we can hope.
Last couple of years, Kara's done a hell of a job with Dead River.
Yeah.
Half of what the
I mean,
public pays.
But that's the heating now.
That's heating, right?
Right, but that doesn't include diesel fuel for our equipment because we don't have any.
He was earning for a fuel delivery.
Okay.
yeah.
We don't pay tax.
Right.
Great.
I believe until.
But this fits.
The joint meeting, we need to stay for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys all set over there? Anybody have any more questions? Chief, all the chiefs?
Why?
Still thinking.
Perfect.
All right.
Very.